Oops. Hello, everyone. Welcome. So glad you could join us. Today's webinar focused on women in tech. My name is Marjorie Salas. I'm the VP of Marketing for the New Jersey Prospanica chapter. So glad to be here, surrounded by so many amazing women. Thank you for joining us today. Today, we will explore the realities of navigating a male-dominant industry. We're going to talk about strategies, stories, support, how have we help each other break through challenges in this field and thrive as well, which is super, super important. We're honored to have such an incredible, amazing, amazing lineup of women. We have Christabel, Vicky, Tatiana, and many a few more coming up. Maybe, maybe not, but stay tuned because this is going to be an entire hour packed with so much to offer our Latina community. And just that, so the insights of our journey, the things that have happened throughout our careers, and we are very, very excited to join today and give you all of this value for your career. And maybe you need to help a friend out, and you're like, you know what? Let me give you some tips that I learned from this amazing webinar, Entre Amigas. We're gonna have an amazing conversation on, what are the rapid challenges? What has inspired you? What gives you that confidence to embrace your career to the next level? And of course, are we empowering our community? So, with further ado, welcome, 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 everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for dedicating time to us. Let me move this here. I would like if you could please introduce yourselves. Um, let's hear of your career, of your story, how you guys got started.
I can get started since I'm the first one there. I'm Vicky. I've been in tech industry over 10 years now, majority in the startup industry. I've been on several founding teams. I've been in founding all the way to some acquisitions. Currently, I'm also a startup advisor, so I support startup founders. Most especially, I like to support Latina founders, but people of color, people nationwide, even worldwide at times. My current startup is Phalanx. I'm the CMO. I'm also a founding member there. We provide document sharing and analytics for sales teams, marketing teams, startup founders. So basically building something that would help me. So yeah, that's my intro here.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. So excited to be here with you all. Thank you to Prospanica for bringing us all together. Thank you, Marjorie, for that awesome intro. And Vicky, great to hear about you. And Christabel will hear about you soon. I'm Tatiana Carret. I am the president of the New York City chapter of Latinas in Tech. Latinas in Tech is a nonprofit organization that helps support, connect, and empower women in the tech sector. Um, so what else can I say? I'm from Venezuela, born in New York, raised in Caracas, Venezuela. And my day job is I'm a healthcare management consultant. So that entails a lot of different things. And we'll talk a little bit more about how I got there. Like Vicky, I love supporting women in the tech sector. And that's includes many different cohorts of people. You have students, you have people entering into tech, you have people already in tech that want to advance, and those that are already in the senior ranks. And then we have Latina founders as well. So really excited to be with you all and looking forward to our discussion.
Crystal?
Hi, thank you again. Thank you so much for having us here. I'm really, really excited uh, just to be alongside all of you and nice to meet and hear about Vicky and Tatiana, your background. But yes, my name is Christabel. I am a UX designer at Nava, a public benefit corporation. I have been working in tech for close to 10 years now in 2017, and of course like building community and being part of community has been a major part of my career growth. I am based in Los Angeles, so I have been involved in Latinas in Tech, Prospanica, in Tequeria. I've been a chapter director for Los Angeles as well. Just took a little break, decided to pass that on for someone else. But yes, very much love to be involved in the community, and uh, happy to share with how I got started if you would like to kick that off, Marjorie, and then we go from there.
Please.
Okay, so uh, my career has been a trajectory of just many different backgrounds. Many of us from our Latino background, my parents are born and raised in Mexico, so I had three career options, which were to be a doctor, a lawyer, or an architect. So that's all we could do, and I have always been a creative person, but that was never really even part to think or fathom about that was even a possibility to even pursue that. So to keep my story as short and concise as possible, I started as a behavioral therapist for children with autism at a very young age, at late high school through college. Then from there, I went to work in localization, which is like working in languages, like translating documents, working with linguists. So doing a lot of document formatting, the changes in languages going left to right, right to left, the text expansion, all of that. But the glass ceiling was real. There was not much hope for advancement. Pay wasn't that great. So I was like, okay, ¿qué más? What else can I do? Where can I go that I could grow? And I was like, I'm gonna go to tech. Like that's
I
where you're
love it.
always growing. And so I took a boot camp so I could learn to code. I didn't really like coding, but I was like, I gotta get in there. I didn't know how else to do it. But once I learned how to code and I figured that I could really mesh my backgrounds as being like a project manager, client relationship manager in localization, and because I could at least walk the tech talk, so I could be a technical project manager. And so that's how I came into tech, became a product manager, and then I could dive in a little bit more with how that transitioned into UX, but that's my story in a nutshell. So I'll pass it on to whoever else wants to share how they got started.
Wow, that's so beautiful. I can totally relate with you in the sense of, career journey. I started as, when I got out of high school, my mom was like, you need to do something and you're not gonna go to college unless you have like abajo del brazo algo. Like she forced me to go to massage school, ask me how many people I massaged, like one. And I think that was me. And I ran there live, but I ended up, going to school for civil engineering. And I was like, this is not, I went for my internship like 2 years in, and I was like, I'm out. This is not for me. And I can totally relate that like career path journey when you're like, okay, how do I optimize but also do something that I'm passionate about, what I'm about, and helping people. I think that's also another factor. So I can totally connect with that career path journey because it's hard and sometimes you have to make those hard decisions. You don't know where this is gonna lead, because I remember being super scared. I'm like, I only know how to do math, and like I want to be an engineer, but like, bye. No, this is not for me. So I see it. I totally understand it. So in a rapid world, how do you guys see, the tech world changing? Now that we talked a little bit about your past, how would you say it's going to project in a quick 5, 10 years, like 5 years, 10 years, short term, long term? What is your gut feeling telling you?
Well, I would
Uh,
hope there be more diversity in tech. At least that's
Yeah,
what we're trying to do, right?
yes.
And I didn't say in my intro, but I'm one of the chapter directors for Techeria New Mexico, and I started the chapter here along with David Tenorio. And one thing I tell people at the Techeria meetups and everything is I told them that growing as an individual, as a woman, as a Latina, but also I worked in fintech for 7 years and talk about you know, homogenous, not very diverse, male-dominated industry. A lot of people are former Wall Street or financial people. You learn a thing or two. But what I do tell a lot of them is allies are everywhere. You need
Yeah.
the people who are like you, look like you, act like you, whatever, culturally like you. But you also need people outside of that group because there is no way that I could have elevated my career and grown had it not been some of these, let's call it, male white men who who helped elevate me and had confidence in me to give me that role. So I do think allyship is important. I think it's our position that we need to promote it. I think it's on our position that we need to be able to say, hey, I can stand with you shoulder to shoulder. Like, don't look, don't talk down to me. Don't look down on me. Like, I'm part of this group. And have the confidence. But that confidence systemically and historically isn't easy. And I get that. So I would hope diversity would be in play. And I would hope that things like work from home and flexible work schedules does allow for people who traditionally could not break into tech, people who are like new mothers, maybe people with handicap or accessibility things. I think that tech is a place to allow that, and hopefully that continues.
Yeah, I
That is
think
awesome.
oh, sorry, go ahead, Mike.
No, I said that's just awesome. I recently encountered someone, to add to your point, who she has a disability and she's an amazing pilot, like drone pilot, and she has like all of her certifications under the sky. And she's a person with disability, but it is so beautiful to break that stigma of what you are allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do, and just break barriers and embrace that beautiful self and to achieve those goals. So I am all 1000%, you know connecting with that. Go ahead,
And
Tatiana.
and just to answer your question, what is the future of technology in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, how
I
is
mean,
your vision? How do you feel about it?
um, I feel hopeful and I feel inspired because there's an arms race, right, across all industries to adapt and to evolve, right? Because their users want the digitalization of everything, right? We want things at our fingertips right now. So the demand is really driving this competitive edge and this arms race for better products, for things that are more convenient, right? Faster, cheaper, better.
Of course.
So we're driving that demand. The users are driving that demand, which is great. And I think what I would love to see is people focusing on solving real world problems, right?
Mhm.
Yes, it's great to have convenience of ease and everybody shipping things to you all the time and you getting the services you need at the blink of an eye. That's great. But what about things like homelessness? What about things like food insecurity? What about things like legal services? What about things, right?
Right.
So, how can we use technology to solve real world problems? That's what I would love to see. That's my vision. Uh, and of course, it's what's what you could deploy to market readily. What do you have a market for? Who's going to pay, and what's people's willingness to pay? That's going to drive the tech, of course. But let's also think, in a more systemic way. How do we want to improve our society using technology? That's what I would love to see.
Before we were on camera, I love how you emphasize the power of community, and I think that testifies to what you are saying now. It's something that is what Prospanica is doing, is what is some of this amazing organization is doing. They're driving the force of the power of community, the connection on how we can build each other. Um, be the bridge, connect. I know Vicky mentioned, the OYML, but like, yeah, sometimes we have to be that middle person that like, hey, let me connect you to 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 this person.
And to go to the question of just like how do we see like 5 to 10 years, and very very much agree exactly what everyone is saying right here. But just to think about some numbers, like women in tech, we make up 27 to 28%. Latinas in tech, 2%.
Wow.
Like diversity is so so important. And then with that, I'll loop back with just like the importance of community, but how tech is coming everywhere. It really is shaping everything. Um, we just got blinds installed in our bedroom last year, and they offered us for like, I don't know, X amount of money more. Like we could get an app to control the blinds to go up and down. It's like, no, thank you. I can do that myself. But just like the prevalence of tech is everywhere. So you can really almost like get into any niche now and to really think about that. But exactly like you're saying, Tatiana, like what are we actually doing it to improve? Like how are we using this to improve our lives, to improve our communities? The Latino spending power, the yeah, the spending power in I think in the US is 3.6 trillion,
Mm-hmm.
which is huge. And then I can't help but to think just in these times that we are in right now, in these unprecedented times, we hold a lot of power where we're sending our dollars, where we're putting that to. So to really think about that wisely, not to go too much into another ways, but just like to think about how little we represent 2% in tech and the 3.6 trillion spending power that we have. Um, and in addition, just absolutely want to highlight the importance of community. Like I know for myself, I wouldn't be where I am right now if it wasn't for other people, the people that have helped me, the allies. I didn't get the job that I have right now. I was referred by another Latina in the company that referred me to this position. And then I'm thinking about, okay, now that I'm here, you don't just keep looking forward. You always have to remember to look back. And so remember to keep that gate open and pull people with you. So I referred another Latina to my company. So just making sure we're constantly helping each other come in.
Awesome, awesome. So moving on to a different aspect, a different question angle, I would say. What aspects of working in the tech industry appeal to you, and which other aspects you wish were different?
Yeah, so I can talk a little bit about that and love to hear other panelists' viewpoint on that too. So basically, I love being in a fast-paced world, and this is where it's at, right? So I love that. You're constantly on your toes, you're constantly learning and being challenged, right? We just said that evolution is just happening so fast that you need to keep up. So I feel like that's also some of the things that I don't like about tech, that it is so fast paced, right? And in the in the because it is so fast paced, some people are going to get left behind, and that concerns me a lot. And I think it concerns a lot of people within the community and community leaders, because we're trying to support our audience, right? Our members, help them just get in and stay the course. And so
Or
that's going to really hinge upon everyone looking at themselves and saying, okay, well, what are my skill sets? What can I do? What is my superpower? What do I bring to the table? And of course, that's something that everyone should do individually, but also think about what skills do you want to acquire? Because this is just going to continue to evolve more and more and more rapidly. So what are some professional development opportunities and learning acquisition opportunities that you can tap into right now? And now is a great time to do just that, because there's so many offerings for free, right? And you see it everywhere, not just the big tech companies, but also even like at a library or other community organizations. They provide a lot of amazing free, you know, virtual sessions, in-person sessions, low code, no code. So excited about some of the things that are happening, but also concerned about some of the other things, but we can mitigate that through, you know, to acquiring new skills.
I love it. That's a great point, to always stay innovative, to always stay motivated. It's part of the journey, regardless of the industry. But yeah, I see it, what you're saying, either you innovate or you get left behind.
I wrote in my notebook, I was doing some notes prior to this, and I said just that. I said, fast-paced industry. What do you not like? Fast-paced industry. So it is, a
Yeah.
juxtaposition in and of itself. Um, I agree. There's a lot of free programs. I think technology as a whole is getting more of a spotlight. I know that CNM, the community college here, offers a free boot camp for people, and that's great. And they've actually had so many people go through it, complete it successfully. And now it's like, all right, we have all these coders. What about jobs? And the tech industry, as we all know, has had a lot of tumultuousness in the past years with jobs. COVID, the trend was that COVID, a lot of software companies were just hiring like crazy, especially in the
Wow.
software world. And they were hiring remotely. They were hiring people all over the world. And year or two after things started opening up, okay, come back to the office now. Oh, you can't come back? You're gone. Or they're just doing mass layoffs, right? Because they over-index their hiring spree. And that's really rough because I think fast-pacedness doesn't just impact the actual technology. Like my company now has AI and everything, so I can talk about that. But I think it also just impacts like what is the trends, what skills are needed, what are the opportunities to attain those skills and everything. So it definitely is changing. I'm glad to see there's so many resources. Latinas in Tech is a great one. I did mentorship for that last year. Techeria, that's a great one. I know for our chapter, we do all our events free. We do a lot of partnerships for educational. We did like a GitHub Copilot demo a couple weeks ago for people for free. So we try to do that. And I think community, as we mentioned earlier, is really important to get those programs and skill sets and everything up there. Because if we just focus on or allow institutions to do it, which is great, I think as a community, just mentorship like this or just talking to people,
Yes.
that is super valuable because you could say, hey, oh, that's not really the trend anymore 6 months later, 2 months later. So yeah.
I love it. I love it. We have to keep innovating. We have to be the connector. We have to emphasize on helping out each other.
Yeah, I'd say 100% agree with that. The favorite part is that you are always learning. And like I mentioned, that was the reason why I wanted to come because get into tech because you are always learning. And as exciting as it is, that's also overwhelming because it's just like, what do you pick? What do you learn? And now you can't even open like a box of cereal without like AI screaming at you. It's just like all over the place that you go. And so like and that's one of those things too, like okay, like think about how we might be able to use this technology. Like don't be scared about it, like use it. I think many times maybe in our communities like technology is still a scary thing to use, so like how can we leverage that to remove those barriers and remove like any any issues or systemic barriers that have been there from the get-go. Like we have to think of ourselves too as like not only just like we're in the tech, but thinking about the community, not just in the tech community, but like our neighbors. How can we make people feel comfortable to use this and know like it's not going to be something bad, it's not scary, we can do this. So I would say yes, it's overwhelming at the same time, but it is exciting, and like and trying to think about it proactively of how we can, to tie back to just the points, like how we can help each other, how we can help our tias, our tios. Like, don't be afraid of this. Like our neighbors. Like, let's use the what we have in our fingertips. Everyone has a smartphone now, so how can we leverage that?
Let me ask you, piggyback on what you are saying, collectively, how are you helping a sister out? Point blank. Sorry, sorry to talk, get a little casual here. But how are we helping a sister out or brother out in this community? Because I think that is the million-dollar question that makes the big impact.
Yeah, happy to talk about that. I mentioned it before, just like making sure that you don't forget to look back. So when you take one step forward, reach back and always be doing that. Like there's 2% of us in the industry. We have to remember that we're not there. Many times we're not at the table. So if that means that we have to build our own table, pues fine, we'll build our own table. But I'd say the main thing too is like don't think about this that you have to get there to the top, whatever it is, by yourself. Tech is very competitive. And when you start thinking about this that it's a solo mission and you have to do it alone, and Vicky, you talked about this, your allies. Allies are so important. You have to bring everybody together. Uh, I think it might still be a popular discourse of just like, there's only room for one woman. And that could be just like the competitive, but like remember that if you make room for others, then you can see more of yourselves there. So always making sure that you are in the communities, all the communities that we've mentioned. Um, Once we get to maybe higher up, and I do see this, and I see this in myself too, just having been more active in taqueria as like my earlier in my career, but as I'm getting later in my career, just like time is more limited. So really, I would say like setting reminders or making the effort to still joining events, still making like whatever calls you can, coming here and making the connection so that you don't forget the power of community and to help your sister out or to help your brother out.
And mentorship is so key. One-on-one mentorship, group, even just networking, sitting at a dinner, having some drinks with people. Like, if it brings up conversation of how it is at work or what do I do? I recall we had a tech idiot meetup, and someone was interning at a place, and he had mentioned that, oh, my internship's ending. And one of the guys was like, why don't you ask for like an extension or employment post internship? And he's like, oh, I never thought of that. And it was just someone who's more senior level in their career saying, you can do that. You have permission to do that. And I think something, especially as Latinas historically, we don't give ourselves permission to do much. I was actually talking to someone today and I'm like, you can ask to do that. And they're like, oh, I never thought about it. And I was like, no, look at this person next to you who's a successful, career person, a guy, and he asked, how come you can't ask? You're in the same position he was 5 years ago. Just
Yeah.
ask. And it's like, we just need to give ourselves that permission. It's hard to have confidence. Allyship helps because, you might not believe in yourself. Your boss might believe in you, and that's all you need. But yeah, mentorship is super key. And I think providing that through my advisory work, I do a lot of free stuff. And talk about maybe I should have been charging more. I don't know, but I did it because I felt like it was right. And it gives back to the community. And if they succeed, I succeed because somebody, just like me. And, you know, someone believed in me once. I believe that I need to believe in others. That's just how I feel.
Whoa, very powerful words. Yes. Yes. I feel like, it is so key to be able to connect with one another. And, you know, I go to so many networking events, and the level of genuinity that you are transmitting, all of you, it is so beautiful. Now, Tatiana, let me hear from you.
Sure. I mean, I'm not gonna, restate what Vicky and Christabel have said. I think that's important. Again, I'm gonna underline, highlight, and put in neon lights the importance of being strategic, right? I do talk to a lot of members. I go to a lot of events. I go to a lot of conferences. And the key to being successful and in helping as many people as possible, because I'm only one person, I cannot mentor everybody. I also can't be a sponsor for everyone. And in sponsorship, I mean being an advocate when you're not in the room. I do try to do that and say, hey, this person has done these amazing roles. Let's give them let's help them get promoted, right? So, I mean, sponsorship in that way. But, bringing together resources so that the audience can use them and be strategic about getting to their next step. I think that is so critical because people need clarity and they want a roadmap, right? There's so many resources, there's so many tools. You kind of have to take a step back as an individual or as one of the community leaders and help members organize themselves to get to their next step in the quickest way possible, in the most efficient way possible. So that's how I'm trying to help the community get clarity, create your roadmap to get to your next step as fast as you can.
Yes, awesome, awesome, awesome. I
I
believe
wanted to add
clarity, it's
one-
power.
Sorry, I wanted to add one more thing as we were talking about just like networking and like being strategic, like you're saying, Tatiana, one thing that I do like to tell people too, like when we're going into networking events, many times when we think of, oh, I got to network, when are we networking? When we need that job, when we're not happy at our job, when we lost our job. And so if that's you in the room, but then everybody else, you feel like la desesperación, like the desperation is there and
Yeah.
everyone's just like, I need a job.
You're in the rush.
Yes. But really maintaining and going to networking events, whether you need something or not, maybe you do need that job, but instead of being like, what can I get out of this? Like, what can I give back? So instead of being like, hey, nice to meet you. What do you do? Like, oh, I'm looking for a job. Just be like, what can I do for you would be the best first question to ask. That would change the conversation and the dialect that you're going to have with someone because then they'll be like, I need to know how to do this, or like, I kind of wish I my personal life or this professional, and then you could get more synergy and connections with that. Maybe it might not go into fruition right then and there, but down the line, someone's going to be like, oh, hey, this person offered me this help. And then you can keep that momentum going.
Yeah, one of my favorite phrases I tell people is see me as a resource. I'm just a resource. I'm part of your, I don't know, tech stack. See me as a resource. And I leave a lot of advisory appointments at the end of that. I say, see me as a resource. And then sometimes they'll ask. And again, I think if you leave that door open, just by stating something or how can I help you or whatever way you say it, it gives an invitation, which maybe isn't there normally.
And
No, I totally get it. And I I'm the biggest advocate of networking. Your net worth is your network. Your network is your net worth. Sorry, I said it backwards. But network, be of value. As a marketer, like my DNA, it's all about what's the value that you're delivering to other people before you even ask, or you could potentially sell that product or service. How are you being of value to your surrounding? And part of the networking, a lot of times we sell ourselves shorts, but then when we are in need, we want to give it all, and it doesn't, time and place, it doesn't necessarily work like that. So that's why from the very beginning, or regardless of what stage of your professional career journey you are in, it is so important to network, be of value to whoever you are shaking hands with, or you are being the connector to, because it might not put you in that room, but it will put your BFF, or it might put a niece, a nephew, or somebody within your network. And that's what makes the biggest impact in my career. So I want to move on a little bit on what would you recommend for a recent grad in the US to find a job in tech?
I guess the biggest advice I would say is to think of tech, not just that you have to be a developer. You don't just have to be a coder to get into tech. Any skills that you have are completely transferable and you could get your foot in the door. And whatever that might be is like just finding the story, finding where it is you want to do and why. I'd say some of that is also just like maybe you just want to get into tech because you think you're going to make a lot of money. That's not really going to get you there. So really finding like what is it about it that might spark you joy or interest. For me, it was definitely being in tech for good. I wanted to make sure that it was helping people like me. So if you could find something that you could be passionate about and talk about it, that's going to come out in your interviews. That's going to come out with the people you meet, and that's going to give you really drive your why you even want to be there, whether it's going to be marketing, whether it's going to be customer service, project management, whatever. I guarantee any skills you have, those skills are needed in the tech world, and it doesn't have to be sitting behind the matrix coding all the time.
yeah, I would say, and I didn't get a chance to share my career trajectory, and I would like to just to provide more inspiration to the audience, but we'll get there in a little bit. When you're a student, it's like it's overwhelming, the possibilities that you have, and you feel like if I go this way, then I'm going to miss out on all of this. If I go that way, I'm going to miss out on all of that, right? you have to know who you are. Who are you? What drives you? What are you passionate about? What problems do you want to solve? Believe me, if you look at things in that way, it's going to be very different. You're going to direct yourself towards the things that not only you love to do, but I think it's also important, and I don't know if many of you have used this. It's basically, it's called ikigai, right? It's a Japanese term. It's a tool. Basically, it's a big Venn diagram. It's like, what do I like to do? What am I good at? But, what can I get paid for? It's nice if you want to plant flowers every day, but if nobody is paying you to plant flowers, then it's just a hobby, right? So all of those things have to align. Who are you? What do you like? What are you passionate about? What are you good at? But also, you know, you have to make a living with what you do and, be valued for it. So again, it comes back to having a really deep conversation with yourself about what you want to do.
Yeah, talking to people is really important too. Internships, mentorship, anything you can do to kind of get your foot in the door. I got a bachelor's in business with a concentration in marketing, and I thought, okay, marketing sounds great. And then I worked for an agency. I hate this. Not this. This is not it. But then I realized, okay, there's a lot more other ways I can do this. And it's kind of like you, Tatiana. My story had a little bit of a weird route too. But eventually I got there and I realized that I just love building things. And I think a lot of that is my dad's an engineer. My mom has more of a creative background or creative personality. And it was like, well, how can I build things and be like scientific but also artistic? And that's what got me into startups and founding and stuff. But it is again to piggyback off everyone else. It's knowing who you are, knowing what you can do, knowing what you're good at. Honestly, you might not be good at everything. And honestly, when you are good at something, you can learn anything, honestly. But if you're good at it or you find a niche of something you're good at, then work is nice. I mean, you go to work and you're like, all right, I got this. I got this, took me almost a decade to get there of I got this and the confidence, but you'll get there eventually. So yeah, I mean, it's hard when the possibilities are endless, and it's okay if what is that street in San Francisco that's like that? It's okay if your career is that Lombard or something. It's okay if your career is like that because honestly, and one thing I really love about startups and founding is we're all just misfits. It's all just people that are like kind of hyper fixated on something or had a problem or something. And I was like, oh my God, my family of misfits, I finally found them. So it's kind of like that. Just kind of finding what you're good at, but also knowing it can change.
Agree. I think I shared mine, but just like the choice that you make today isn't going to be your always and forever. Your career is an evolution, and embrace the change, embrace the journey, and just be happy and making sure that you are being taken care of as you go. So,
Yeah, each point in your career trajectory is a learning opportunity. So don't take it as a failure. Like you could add on to what you already know.
It's a journey, not a destination. Is that what they say, right? So everything it's a process, and even the bumps on the road, the career, the shift changes, the tears, the moments could seem very, very dark, but it's how you evolve from them, how you innovate yourself and turn into that beautiful caterpillar to like butterfly where you're like, okay, I'm living it. This is what I could do for not for free, but I could do it for long term and teach others. That's part of the beautiful journey. A comment from our chat box from Lady A said, I feel that leveraging our tech skills to lift our communities is a way to give back, particularly mentorship young folks trying to make sense of the job market. Yes, yes, absolutely. Um, Staying connected, being active in the small groups, and polishing, always polishing those small skills to help another person. Um, I know a little tiny bit about coding, just because I, needed to pull myself out of some, massive fires, when I was growing my agency. But had I not put myself in those positions of like, I either break this website or break this app or I'll figure it out. But through, trial and error, figuring it out, Google as my ally, I was able to overcome. But it's part of the journey, is part of the evolution, and leveraging that, like, that confidence of like, what, use that as your tool to move forward. um I would also like to, ask another question. I think this one came from the chat as well. How can beginners respectfully advocate for themselves in an environment where they might feel overlooked? Ooh, that's such a strong
Uh,
question.
I can, I've faced that many times, and you kind of have to build a coalition of people that are going to help you. You're not going to do it by yourself, right? You're going to have those strategic conversations with your supervisors, with your peers, with your client. Your client is a very strong advocate because they'll be like, I don't like the way you're treating ABC person. I'm going to pull out. Bye. And then your company's like, wait, no. Okay. What do you need us to do? That's huge. You have to build a team around you that's going to advocate for you when you're not there. And it's everybody. So you have to build strong relationships with people from the day you get to that organization.
Wow, yes.
Agree. And I would say that this is probably going to be ongoing for your whole career to build that confidence. So don't think it's going to magically go away or after X amount of years, you're finally going to be fine. That little voice will creep into you and it'll happen. So it does come to allies and bringing people along with in the journey with you, coming from like the design world. It could be very much just like be a secondary thing or like overlooked. So I always like to bring people into my process, into my thinking process, so that everybody has their fingerprints in the end product, and that gives everybody buy-in and you're able to work together as a team. So being collaborative is huge, 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 huge. And in a way where it's not clicky, or in a way it's like us versus them, but just like really emphasizing the mentalities, like one team, one project, one goal, we're in this together. And this made me think about something else, about just like we've all been on our journeys. So I might be going off a little bit of a tangent here, but this just came to mind about, we hear this a lot as Latinos, Latinas, we're resilient, we're gonna get through this, whatever challenge that is. And I've gotten to the point where I'm sick of hearing that we're resilient, because what does that mean? That means that they could underpay us. That means that we don't get a room at the table because we're resilient. We'll figure out a way, we'll make our budget work with getting, I think Latinas make 58 cents to the white male dollar. So I don't want to be resilient. I don't want to be seen as that. So really being someone that, being the leader, and to be the leader you just need one follower, so bringing that collaboration with you along the way.
Yeah, and
So
also, sorry, Christabel, one quick thing. Resilience sometimes is suffering in silence, and you're right, that's not fair.
Yeah, it's really hard to know your worth. And like you said, Christabel, it could take your entire career. It could never happen. I like to see, or hope to see, that there are iterative advancements that are happening for the better. But I mean, if you asked me, it's not fast enough. I wish that suddenly, equal pay was a thing, and board of directors, there were Latina women in most companies, and it's just not the case. And that's really unfortunate. But I think, to go back to the original question, I'll just have some empathy and say it's tough. And I might come off as quite confident when it comes to my work environment, but that has not always been the case, and honestly, sometimes still not the case. So just because you see somebody and they're like, oh, all the confidence in the world, or hey, they're doing so great, you don't really know, you don't know what's going on in their head, and you don't know if they have the best relationship with their boss or their employees, or, and you don't know the background. So I would just say to have a mentality that, everyone's learning. There is a lot of fake it till you make it. And knowing that, you can do better because okay, just, maybe I feel like I don't have it all together. Well, a lot of people don't. But that's okay because we're all working to do better, right? And as long as you're in that trajectory and you're working towards that, then, just try to have some confidence, but it's easier said than done.
I totally understand, and I think to add to your point, to all of your point, is kindness. We have to be kind to each other, kind to that person who they're starting their journey, and now they're just blowing one day at a time. Because outside of our 9 to 5s or that 24/7, there is a lot happening, right? We are caregivers, we are family members, we're lovers, we're here to grow with one another, and part of that ecosystem, it's being kind and having that word of encouragement to another person goes a long way, regardless of their industry or their career journey. It makes a change. Um, i i believe we're still humans buying from humans, so we still have to have that caring factor to one another, especially for our careers. Um, I thank you so much for all of your answers. They have all been so amazing. We have room for one more question, I believe, that's coming from the chat. How do you stay grounded in who you are while working in a space that weren't created for you in mind? That's very strong.
I think Christabel said it before, make a table, you know, it's yours for the taking. You create what you want. This is the beauty of where we are right now. Now more than ever, you have tools at your fingertips that my grandmother never had, my mother never had. And it could change the trajectory of your life. You can create a powerful company, like I said, solving an important issue in our society today. Like I focus on healthcare. There's so many issues in healthcare that can be solved. And maybe one of you can be that Latina founder or Latino founder, because I know some hermanos are here too,
Yes.
to make, to change somebody's life for the better. And, you know, that's where I see the power of where we are right now.
Yeah,
I
staying
love
staying
it.
grounded. Founders have a lot of relationship issues and divorce rate issues and everything because they always put their companies above everything. And I know that, and I really try to, put my laptop closed, spend time with family, with my puppies, with my partner. It's really important. Luckily, for Latinos and Latinas, we have strong cultural backgrounds. I moved back to New Mexico after spending 10 years away, and I just really I miss the food. I really miss the food. And, just kind of having that family time really grounds me. I've been doing yoga most of my adult life, and that really like more literally grounds me. There's a lot of groundwork in that. But yeah, it's really important to kind of know your values, know what's important, know that you're a human being, and know when to leave things at the table, maybe not the same table we all are talking about, but know when to say, okay, that's a work issue, that's a human resource issue, or whatever it is, and saying, but that's not who I am as a person. Like who I am as a person is this, and really keeping true to that. It can be tough, but I just think it's so incredibly important.
Totally, absolutely agree with what both of you just said right now too. And what really resonates is like staying grounded, exactly like you were saying, Vicky. Like yes, these spaces were not made for us. We weren't even included. We weren't even thought of. Just so many like aspects of technology didn't even think about how they could help our community, how they could help our people. So when you are in this space and you know that maybe someone is talking over you, how many times has this happened to you where maybe your boss, a white male colleague, as soon as you start talking, they're like, yeah, well, it's like that has happened to me so many times, but like exactly like you're saying, staying grounded. And I learned to not quiet down, cower down, just be like, oh, okay, like I'll let you finish. It's like, nope, my voice got stronger, my voice got firmer, and I kept talking until I finished my point. Like, no, sir, I don't care if you are the owner, you will not interrupt me.
Yeah.
So knowing like no, the space isn't made for you, people aren't going to value you, people aren't going to just be like, hey, yes, we want to hear from you. So you have to make that space, but also knowing that at the end of the day, you're probably not going to be valued, we're probably underpaid anyways. So don't give it your all, exactly like Vicky was saying. Like, remember what's important to you, because if you're committing yourself working 12, 16 hours and maybe you're going to get noticed, you're a hard worker and they're going to value that. But you know who's going to notice that more? Your job isn't going to notice that you're working so hard, but your family's going to remember, oh, you missed dinner again. Oh, you weren't at the dinner table. Oh, you didn't come to this event because you were working again. So putting your values and putting yourself above all. But your community too. Let's not forget your community too. Just remember that how our communities, how our culture was built was collective community, not individual Western community either. So just think about what you can bring and how you can balance everything out. It's a balancing act.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I have to tell you, I have a whole notepad. I don't know if you guys can see it, full of amazing notes. Thank you. Thank you so much. I love, the topics that we talk. It really felt like this last hour felt like a round table, putting all of our feelings and our careers experience out there and how we're able to uplift and grow with one another. Um, Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, because I know this is of impact to I always talk about like the younger version of me, that had I listened to that webinar, had I listened to that podcast, you know, uh, it would have made my journey easier. And I think just this makes a big impact. So thank you so much for your time. And I would like to say, as we wrap up today's webinar, I want to extend the heartfelt warmth to all of you. Thank you so much for your time, for joining us today. We're especially grateful to Prospanica National for their continued commitment to uplifting Latinas in the workplace and helping more events like this possible. We're looking ahead for some amazing upcoming opportunities and some great events that are coming up to help you, inspire you, and to empower you, all Latinas and minorities, future leaders coming up. So I would like to mention just a few of them, but you have to follow our page, follow up on us on Instagram, on our website to see what we're up to. But I would love to mention Para Ella Symposium. It is an in-person event taking place very soon, July 25th. Uh, Pardon my pronunciation, Pepperdine Gracidiano Business School. I don't know if I pronounced it right. It's going to be a powerful gathering of Latina leadership, empowerment, and all about the comunidad being united, featuring inspiring keynote speakers, transformative workshop designed to support lifelong growth. It's not just about career, but also about our lives, our how we're growing, how are we evolving. Another that I've personally been to and had amazing experience is following that event will be Mujeres Brillantes Awards ceremony on July 26th at City Club LA. This special evening will honor the brilliance, resilience, leadership of amazing Latinas in business who are breaking barriers and igniting the path for us towards more inclusive future, more opportunities, and true trailblazers making a change in industries for us to, grow and shine our true light, our true passion. And finally, don't miss our upcoming Women's Equality webinar on Wednesday, August 26th, where we'll we gather once again for a thoughtful, inspiring conversation. Thank you once again for spending your time with us today. We look forward to seeing you at these upcoming events and continue this powerful journey together. Oh my God. Oh. Yes, I know. We have to go.
And can I
We
just say
had
one?
an improv guest. Sorry.
Oh, so cute.
Oh,
Can I say one
So
more quick
sorry.
thing? Thank you so much for telling us about all these amazing events and conferences. The audience, you should jump at this. These are incredible events. You will meet amazing people here. And, like my fellow panelists have said, get your next opportunity or your next, consulting gig or build
Yes.
your next company or get your next check.
It's all through network,
Yeah.
network.
But what I did want to say, because, I've been building community for quite some time, we need to be super united now more than ever.
Yes.
Okay. I appreciate Prospanica. I appreciate Tequeria. We also partner with SHEP and Alpha and some other amazing nonprofits. We're here for you. We exist because of you and thanks to you. And I, love being in these events because it is helping us grow and expand together. So just wanted to say that.
Sorry for the last guest speaker. You can tell this is live. This is not recorded or staged.
That's going to be our next speaker in the
yes.
next 5 to 10 years.
I also just want to echo the same sentiments. Thank you so much for having us. This was amazing. Vicky, Tatiana, thank you for all your insight and advice. And yeah, hopefully we can catch each other again, or maybe at the symposium or the Mujeres Brillantes or the webinars. So yes, community is
Yes.
important. United, it doesn't matter where you're from. If you're from Venezuela or Cuba or Mexico, like we have to stick strong together now more than ever.
Yes, absolutely. Tatiana, we gotta get together. We're super close. Well,
Absolutely.
thank you so much, ladies, for your time. I'm very thankful to have to soon meet you, and I'm looking forward to connecting with you. I know there are some amazing events coming up very soon, so we're looking forward to seeing you there.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for the time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Buenas noches.
Bueno.
Bye. Dile bye-bye.
Bye.